day to everyone. So for today's lesson, it's all about solving problems involving angle of elevation. So ano nga ba ang angle of elevation? So the term angle of elevation means that the observer looks at the object above him. Ayan, above him. It could be a human or studied object is located above the reference objects. So it is like when you see an object above you. So there's an angle formed between the horizontal line and the line of sight. So ito yung tinatawag natin na angle of elevation towards above itong object natin. So reference object. So for example, so number one, a man standing outside of his house flew kites every afternoon during SCQ. So according to him, he used 1,250 meters of string to fly the kite. If the angle of elevation of the kite to the ground is 40 degrees, what is the distance of the kite to the ground? So para masagutan natin to, idodrawing muna natin kung anong nilalaman nitong problem. So for example, a man stand, let's say ito yung man natin. So meron tayong tao, for example lang, and then he flew according to him. So nagpapalipad siya ng saranggola. Ito yung saranggola natin. For example lang, ito yung saranggola kite. And the angle of elevation is 40 degrees. So ito yung horizontal line natin. Tsaka nag-form siya ng, ayan. So ito yung angle of elevation natin. Meron siyang 40 degrees. So ito yung reference angle natin. And etong tali daw, ang measurement natin is 1,250 meters. Ayan ang given natin. So the question is, what is the distance of a kite to the ground? So ito yung distance natin. So ito yung, no, let's say, variable x. So para ma-solve natin yan, aalamin natin ano bang gagamitin natin. So remember natin yung mnemonics device natin na SOHCAHTOA. So, katawa. So, ito yung nawawala. Since ito yung reference angle natin, so it means ito yung opposite. And ito yung hypotenuse. Okay, so ang given natin is opposite tsaka hypotenuse. So, alin dito ang gagamitin natin? So, itong opposite tsaka hypotenuse. So, we will use the sine theta. So, solution natin dito. So, sine theta, so formula natin is yung opposite over hypotenuse. Ano bang value ng ng opposite? Ito yung variable x natin. And the hypotenuse is 1,250 meters. And then yung sine theta natin, meron tayong 40 degrees. So, i-cross multiply natin yan. So, cross multiply. So, it becomes yung x natin. So, it means yung 1,250 times sine 40 degrees. Okay, so gagamitin natin yung scientific calculator. So, for example, okay, let me present calculator natin o window. So, ito. So, tulad kanina, kailangan i-solve yung given. Okay, so we have kanina is 1,250 times 40. So, 1,250 times natin sa 40. 40 degrees. So, ang sagot natin is meron tayong 848. Okay, so 848. So, x is 840, 803. Sorry, I mean 803. 803.48 meters. So, ito yung height natin ng kite papunta dito sa may ground. Okay, so the final answer is 803.48 meters. Okay. Example number 2. So number 2 question is, the Philippine Arena, so the world's largest indoor arena, has a height of 65 meters. Suppose an observer is standing 30 meters away from the entrance. So what would be the angle of elevation to the roof of the arena? So let's say yung arena, diba, ito yung tao, and then ito yung arena natin, for example lang, di ba? So arena, for example, so sorry sa mga drawing natin. So example, ito yung arena, di ba? And then, so 65 meters. So ito, mula siya dito, yung line of sight niya papunta dun sa may pinaka roof. Okay. So 65 meters, itong height natin, 65 meters. Ang height ng arena. So for example lang naman. Then 30 meters away from the entrance. So 30 meters away. So ito yung distance niya mula sa arena. So 30 meters. So what would be the angle of elevation? So ito yung elevation. Ito yung reference angle natin. So ito yung nawawala. So anong gagamitin natin? So remember pa rin yung SOHCAHTOA. So since meron tayo, ito yung reference natin. So ito yung magiging adjacent. Adjacent ito. And ito yung opposite. So adjacent tsaka opposite, ito ang gagamitin natin. Tangent theta. So tangent theta opposite over adjacent. Tangent theta natin, ang opposite is 65 over 30. Ayan. So 35 over 30, 65 over 30, di-divide natin yan. Okay, gamit yung calculator natin. So 65 divided by 30. So ito yung sagot natin na 2.166 and so on. So gagawin natin siyang degree. So paano? So shift natin ito, pipindutin natin, kukunin natin yung tangent, and then yung answer kanina, and equals. So nagkakaroon tayo ng 65.22 degrees. So kukunin natin yung pinaka-whole number, 65 degrees na lang. So ang theta natin, so magiging theta natin dito ay 65 degrees. So this is the final answer. So this is the angle of elevation to the roof of the arena. Example number 3. Number 3 question is, when the angle of elevation of the sun is 61 degrees, the building casts a horizontal shadow of 50 meters. How high is the building? O let's say, ito yung sun natin. And then ito yung building. So ito yung building natin. So dapat mas mataas. So ito yung building. And then meron siya ng cast shadow. So mula dito, syempre, ito yung shadow natin. Ito yung shadow niya sa baba. So ang measurement daw natin is 50. So mula dito sa pinaka-building natin tsaka sa dulo, meron siyang 50 meters. And the angle of elevation is 61 degrees. So ito yung 61 degrees. The question is, how high is the building? So ito yung nawawala. That's yung variable y. Okay, palitan na natin. So ito yung reference natin. So ito yung opposite. Ito yung adjacent. So mula doon sa may 3 natin na sine, cosine, tangent, alin doon ang may opposite tsaka adjacent is yung tangent. So we use tangent theta opposite over adjacent. Ang opposite natin ay y. Ito yung nawawala. And yung shadow natin, yung adjacent natin is 50 meter. And then yung tangent theta natin 61. So y over 50. So cross multiply natin yan. So y is equal to 50 times tangent 61. Okay, so the value of y using calculator, 61 degrees. So 50 times 60, tangent 61. 50. So input natin yung 50 times natin sa 61 degrees. So the answer is 90.20. Okay, so the answer is 90.20 meters. So this is the height or the height of the building. So yan po yung angle of elevation natin. Okay, so we have only 3 examples. So next is the angle of depression. So para lagi natin tandaan class, yung angle of elevation, kasi elevator, ito yung pataas. Pataas, di ba? Pataas yan. So pag sinabi natin ng depression, so another meaning na may depressed, di ba? Ang bagsak na bagsak ka, syempre, pababa. Okay. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng angle of depression? So when we say angle of depression, means that observer, ito yung observer natin, at the object below. So ito yung object below natin. It could be a human or any reference object natin. So studied object is located below to the reference object. So it is like when you see an object below you, it is an angle formed between the horizontal line and the line of sight towards the object below. Ito. Let's say ikaw nasa taas ka, tinitignan mo yung object or any reference object pababa. Ayan, so ito yung, andito yung observer natin, nag-form tayo horizontal line, so ito yung line of sight, pababa ka, and then ito, so angle of depression yung na-form natin. Okay, so example number 1. So from the top of the tower, which is 175 feet tall, and the angle of depression to the house is 13 degrees. How far is the house from the tower? Okay, so let's say we will draw this example. So gagawa tayo ng tower. So for example lang, ito yung tower natin. Ayan, so ito yung tower. So assume lang na ito yung tower. So from the top of the tower, which is 175 feet tall. So analyze natin yung problem. So 175 feet daw ito. And the angle of depression, so pababa yan. So ito yung horizontal line natin. So ito yung line of sight. So 13 degrees. So 13 degrees. How far is the house? Ito yung house from the tower. So ito yung nawawala. Okay, so paano tayo solve yan? Let's say ito yung 30 degrees. So gagawin natin siyang rectangle ganyan 5. So let's say kapag sa rectangle, diba, opposite sides are congruent or equal. So it means ito raw ay 175 feet. So, ito naman yung y natin. So, ito yung reference. Ito yung magiging opposite natin. Diba? Ito yung adjacent. Opposite, adjacent. So, alin dun sa tatlo, yung sine, cosine, tangent, syempre yung tangent theta. So, we use tangent theta, opposite, kasi ito yung reference natin, opposite is 175, and adjacent natin yung y, opposite and adjacent. So, by solving, so tangent theta is 13 degrees, opposite natin is 175 over y. So, i-cross multiply natin yan. So, it becomes y times 13 degrees, tan 13 degrees is equal to 175. So, para makuha natin yung value ng y, divide natin both side by tangent 13 degrees. So, tangent 13 degrees. So, cancel out niyan. So, we have the unknown. So, using scientific calculator, so yung 175 divided by tangent 13. 175 divided by tangent 13. So the answer is 758. 758 feet. Kasi ang unit na ginamit natin kanina is feet tall. Okay. So that is 758 feet ang layo mula dun sa tower papunta dun sa house. Okay, that is the final answer for the question number 1. How about number 2? From the top of the mountain, so gagawa tayo ng mountain. So ito yung mountain natin yan, mountain. So let's say nandito yung tao. So from the top of the mountain, so 135 meters high. So ang measurement natin nito is 135 meters. A ship is seen below a sea. So ito, meron siya nakitang ship. Okay. Ano ba yung ship? So, ganyan na lang. So, it will observe the angle of depression of 21 degrees. So, ito yung horizontal line. So, meron tayong 21 degrees. How far? So, how far is the ship from the top of the mountain? Okay, so tinatanong itong yung line of sight natin. Okay, so ito ay 135. So 135 din po ito. Diba? So ang nawawala ito, yung line of sight natin. So opposite tapos hypotenuse. So alin doon sa tatlo? Opposite, hypotenuse. So saan ba kinuha? Yung sa katawa yan. Ayan. So given yung opposite tsaka hypotenuse, so we will use sine. Sine theta is equal to the opposite over hypotenuse. So yung sine, the given angle natin is 21 degrees. Ang opposite natin is 135 meter over the hypotenuse, ito yung x. Okay, cross multiply natin yan. So we have x sine 21 degrees is equal to 135. And then to get the value of x, divide natin by sine 21. So cancel out x is equal to kung ano yung sagot natin dito. So using calculator, 135 divided by sine 21. 135 divided by sine 21 equals 376.71. The answer is 376.71 meters. Ito yung ginamit natin na unit. 376.71. Ito yung layo mula dun sa top of the mountain papunta dito sa ship natin. Okay, ito yung 376.71. Okay, that is the final answer. Okay, last example number 3. So for the angle of depression, number 3, an observer is lying on the top of the hill in Binangonan, Rizal, is overlooking the view of Laguna Lake. Suppose that the hill is 25 meters high and the angle of depression of the observer to the lake shore is 64 degrees. What is the distance of the lake shore to the foot of the hill? Okay, so gagawa tayo ng hill. And then, so let's say meron tayong lake shore. Ito yung nakita nyo lake shore. Yan, ito yung yan. And observer, ito yung observer natin, di ba? So, observer natin yan. So, 25 meters high ang alin. Ito yung hill. So, ang taas daw neto is 25 meters. And the angle of depression, so angle of depression, ito yung line, horizontal line. Ito yung line of sight natin papunta doon sa may lake shore. That is 64 degrees. What is the distance? Ang tanong is, what is the distance of the lake shore to the foot of the hill? Ito yung nawawala natin. Okay. So, extend natin yan. So, gagawin ko siyang rectangle. So, kung ito ay 25, 25 din po ito. Ito yung x natin. So, same lang sila. Opposite are congruent. That is variable x. So, ito yung nawawala. So, given yung opposite, tsaka adjacent. Excuse me. So, we will use tangent theta. Tangent theta opposite over adjacent. Yung so katawa. So, tangent 64 degrees and the opposite is 25 over the adjacent of x. So, ganun pa rin. Cross multiply natin yan. So, x is equal to x times tangent 64 is equal to 25. So, to get the value of x, divide natin yan sa tangent 64. So, cancel out x is equal to the answer of this one. So, 25 divided by tangent 64. So, we have 25 divided by tangent 64 degrees. So, we have 12.19 or 12.19 meters. That is 12.19 meters. So, that is the final answer. So, that is for today. So, the angle of depression. So, laging tandaan, kapag sinabing angle of elevation, ito yung pataas. Kapag depression, pababa.